All right, this is chapter 3, section 2. This is solving inequalities using addition or subtraction. So now we're just taking what we did in section 1 and we're taking it a step further. So when we're done, we want to be able to add and subtract to solve inequalities. The nice thing about this section is it's not a lot different than just solving equations with an equal sign instead of an inequality to them. I don't want you to write necessarily anything down from this unless you feel like you have to, but what I want you to understand is this. Here's what this concept essentially tells us, is that if you start off with A greater than B, okay, so any number like 5 is greater than 3, and if you add the same number to each side, right, so we have, let's say, 5 is greater than 3. If you add the same number, like 6, 5 plus 6 is 11, and 3 plus 6 is 9. What this is saying is that adding a number, the same number, does not change that. It leaves it the same. And that's the same even if this was less than. Okay? So understand that adding something to each side, as long as it's the same thing, here it's plus c and plus c, the same thing, does not change whether it's greater than or less than. So let's try that. So what I want you to do is think of this as an equal sign. Okay, just because it's greater than doesn't change what we do. So if this was an equal sign and we said, what are the solutions? We're basically asking you to get x all by itself. So to get x all by itself, you would add 15 to both sides. So now you have x, these cancel, greater than, negative 12 plus 15 is 3. That is the solution. Any number greater than 3 would be a solution. Now, so it just asks you to graph. So if we graph that, here's 0, 2, 4, 6. 3 is right here. It's not equal to, so it's going to be a big open circle, and it's greater than. So any number greater than 3 will work and be a solution for this problem. Okay? What are the solutions for 10 greater than or equal to x minus 3? Okay, again, what is the solution? So we get x by itself. What are the solutions means, again, get x alone. So we add 3 to both sides. And now we have x on the right side all alone because these cancel. 10 plus 3 is 13. So 13 is greater than or equal to x. And if we had to graph that, I have to get to 13. So I'm going to start at like, I'm going to start at 8, 10, 12, 14, and so 13 is right here. But what way are we going? Well, 13 has to be greater than or equal to anything for x. And since it's a greater than, I forgot to do this right away, make sure that you fill in your circle. It's going that way since it has to be, 13 has to be bigger than anything that x is. What are the solutions to m minus 7 greater than or equal to negative 2? We add 11 to both sides. M is greater than or equal to 9. And graphing that would look like, let's make this 8, 9, 10, 11, 10, 12. So here's 9. It's equal to, so I'm going to fill that in. M is greater than, so we're going this way. This is the subtraction property. Same concept except dealing with subtraction. So if you start off with any number greater than another number, like 4 is greater than 3, and you subtract the same number from both. So let's say that we subtract 2. 4 minus 2 is 2. 3 minus 2 is 1. This is still true. It doesn't change the symbol. So again, you don't have to write any of this down unless you feel like you want it in your notes. It's just that subtraction and addition do not change the inequality. Remember that. So what are the solutions? Same thing as before. We subtract 6 this time instead of before we were adding, right? T plus 6, we minus 6. Keep the symbol. Negative 4 minus 6 is negative 10. And then I'm going to skip the graphing just to save some time on the video, but you would then graph t greater than negative 10. Now what if we had to do this as like a word problem? The hard drive on your computer has a capacity of 120 gigs. You have used 85 gigs. You want to save some home videos to your hard drive. What are the possible sizes of the home video collection you can save? Okay. What would we do for this? Well, first thing we have to do is let's decide on a variable that we want to use. For our video, I don't know, we can use V. V is the size of the video. And what are we doing here? Well, we have to make sure that we've already used 85. So we already have 85 used up, plus we're going to add a video. So if we take that 85 that we've already used up and add another video, it has to be what? Together, they have to be less than or equal to 120. We've already used 85. We add something to it. It has to be less than or equal to 120, because if it's not, that means that we don't have room for it. Okay, so we are going to solve for this. So we subtract 85 from both sides. B is less than or equal to, that comes out to be 35. So the video that we can add has to be less than or equal to 35 gigs. If not, we can't add it to our computer. That is this new section. It's pretty straightforward. It's just adding and subtracting with inequalities instead of like an equal sign there.